War Eagle War Report family, I am your host, C Dub. Tonight, we look ahead and preview the 2022 Auburn football team by continuing with the defensive backs, that's cornerbacks and safeties, and we look ahead to a very important scrimmage this Friday. We'll talk about what we expect to happen, what we hope happens, and more. All that and more on tonight's edition of the Mid-Week Rapport. War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the latest edition of the Mid-Week Rapport, brought to you by show sponsor auburnsports.com. Guys, please head on over there for your latest intel regarding recruiting and all news Auburn athletics, especially as it pertains to this fall scrimmage. Shout out to JG Tate and those guys for doing an excellent job and for supporting the War Report. We want to thank you guys for supporting us as well. There's several ways you can do that. First of all, thank you for actually watching with us live or watching on replay, but also help other people find our content. A great way to do that is by sharing this video on social media. Drop the hashtag, get your weight up, help people to find our content. Also, guys, smash that like button. Please help us out and help our engagement by smashing the like button. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now, you can support us financially by getting a green name, not a blue name, but a green name.
what color name?
You thinking blue check? Maybe, I don't know.
Blue check. I was thinking blue check, but
Okay,
yeah,
there we go.
but a green name. Tell us all about it, Ike.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get on board with the Green Name Posse. That's just $3.99 per month to get you there. But if you want all of the premium stuff, $5.99 is where you want to go, unless you're using an iPhone or an Apple device, and then you gotta, pay the Apple tax. And they just do weird stuff like tack additional money on top of your stuff. That's because Apple is greedy like that. But if you want to support us, Apple, come in and toss us some dollars, and then we could just make it free for everybody if you give us enough. Anyway, that's a different appeal. $5.99 per month to get you to the patron level. You get great things like exclusive content, including our watch the film sessions. If you are a green name at all, then you are going to get an opportunity to get free tickets to games. We are coming up on the first giveaway of the season for these free tickets. We're giving away tickets to the Mercer game, 2 tickets to a lucky member. So you have to be a member in order to be on board with that, but you can definitely get on board with that right now. If you're a member, you also had an opportunity to check out our interview with Donovan Kaufman. That is going live for everybody tomorrow. We'll have a little preview of that in a minute. But Donovan Kaufman sat down with myself and Mike G to talk a little bit about what we're discussing today, which is the Auburn secondary. So it's really great conversation to have with him. Today, just like any other day, we are giving away stuff. We're giving away an AU t-shirt, courtesy of War Eagle Oil. So if you want to enter that giveaway, hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We'll be making that drawing around the 1 hour mark of the program. So make sure you are still here if you want to be able to get that. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to be able to get on board with that. And we will be, making sure that you get your lovely t-shirts in the mail. So thank you so much for everybody who continues to support the War Report, man. And we are going to keep taking this thing to the top.
I want to thank you guys also for commenting and wishing our very own Mike G a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mike G. You're getting up there, bro. I have
a really sad story about my birthday. Like, I don't normally make a big deal about my birthday. My friends, God bless them, make a big deal about my birthday, but it circles around some very important people forgetting my birthday when I was 12. So ever since then, I've just been like, I'm not bringing it up. Unfortunately, Auburn memes let the cat out of the bag on Twitter today. I got on Twitter, and he's like, happy birthday, Mike G. And I'm like, damn it, memes. You had one job. So because he let the cat out of the bag, we've told you how you guys can financially support us. When you're 39. Ooh, one more year in the threes.
Hey, at least you got one more.
One more year in the
I was
threes.
about to say,
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm out.
Some people go out and get drunk for their birthday. Some people eat gummies. I like to go to Costco on my birthday. So if you want to support my Costco habit, War Damn Transfer is the cash app. Support the birthday habits. I will be buying chicken breasts and bulk toilet paper because I'm almost out.
All right.
That's how you can support me for my birthday.
Okay.
I like usefulness for my birthday. Don't send me some socks, anything that says Auburn on it, or candy. That's what I like for my birthday.
Buy a bunch of Chill Boys and send it to
yeah, or that, or buy something from our sponsors.
Gummies. Send them some gummies. That's close to like candy. You know, candy-esque. No,
listen. Richard will do that all on his own, but he'll send me some stuff he cooked up in the lab that'll be like 8 times stronger than a normal dose, and I'll miss the next 3 shows.
Well, listen, guys, let's get into it. Let's talk about the next position group that we want to preview. Let's talk about defensive backs, and this is a pretty crowded room as it pertains to cornerbacks and safeties. And I'm excited about this position group, guys. I really am. Let's take a look. Let's start with the cornerbacks first, shall we? Here they are. Mike G, you want to give us the birthday drum roll? All right, you're getting better. You're getting better and better.
I saw the lips flap on that
one. All right,
only because it's my birthday. I promised myself I'd never do that again until you said that.
I figured it was your birthday. You would help us out.
Yeah, I'm going to retire it.
You should. All right. So returning at cornerback is A.D. Diamond, Nehemiah Pritchett, Jalen Simpson. But we got a lot of guys incoming this year for this team. Keontae Scott, who we did an interview with. You definitely want to check that out, guys. Austin Osbury, DJ James, the transfer from Oregon, J.D. Rhyme, Tony Hunley Jr., Mac McClinton. Also, those who we've lost, Drayshawn Miller, Ro Torrance, Roger McCreary, who went off to the NFL draft, and Malcolm Askew. These are your cornerbacks, and we've been hearing really good things from this position group, guys. Some really solid things from them. Of course, been hearing great about Nehemiah Pritchett and Jalen Simpson. DJ James, we've been hearing a lot of good things from some of the younger guys. As Keontae Scott, he hasn't been here, 2 weeks, and they've been raving about him. Austin Osbury, J.D. Rhyme, there's a lot of names to just choose from. Your thoughts, I'll start with you, Ike Jones, about this position group and just who are some guys that you're looking at to take the next step for this position group?
Yeah, I think, I've been hearing very good things. And again, shout out to our guy, Donovan Kaufman. We'll talk about safeties here in just a minute. He's been saying he gave us some good info on Jalen Simpson, man. And I've heard good things about the speed at which Jalen Simpson has gotten up to this year. He is, to me, one of the more sure tacklers in this defensive backfield. And if he's added the speed that everybody is raving about, I think that he's going to be potentially locked down at corner, right? Like he's already got good or decent ball skills. I won't say great, but good ball skills, great tackling ability. And if he's adding some more speed on top of that, man, he could be a problem if he stays healthy this year. So he's a guy I'm definitely looking forward to seeing step up. We hear the term that somebody has a dog in them. And the guys who are new to this group that people keep saying, man, that guy has a dog in him, Keontae Scott, DJ James. Looking very much forward to seeing those guys operate in the orange and blue this year. Nehemiah Pritchett is kind of the mainstay of this group. He's probably had the most in-game snaps. And so I anticipate that he's going to be a key contributor. But as far as stepping up to the next level, I'm looking at Jalen Simpson, and I'm definitely looking forward to some of the guys that we've added.
B. Will, give me your thoughts on this position group. Who are you looking forward to seeing having a breakout year? Who are some, maybe even a young guy that you think may be in for a treat? We may be in for a treat to see them contribute.
I think Scott is going to lock down one of the spots based on what we've heard in camp so far. I think it's a safe bet that Jalen Simpson locks down the other outside corner spot, and those were our two main corners for the duration of the season, of course, assuming nobody gets injured. Now, slot, I think Pritchett probably lines up over slot. I don't ask me why, but that's what I think, because of, if you're going to be outside corner, the speed is the biggest difference maker with outside corner. You're going to be taking on the other team's fastest guy, not the quickest guy, which is who is usually in the slot, but their fastest guy. So I think that's why, if Jalen Simpson, as sure as he tackles, he's got to be somebody who can get to somebody and get them down and not just stick with them in cover and body. I don't know how good our DB's hands are. We did a lot of covering. We held people down, did some pass breakups. Roger McCreary had a couple INTs last year, but I don't really know what the ball skills are for the rest of our guys. And that's something I will have to see going forward and look at the coverage about. But I expect that Simpson and Scott will get those starting spots. There doesn't seem to be much adherence to who was here last year just because you were here last year at any position. And especially not, I don't expect that to be different for cornerback. So if Jalen Simpson has improved at a rate as what we're hearing, then yeah, I'm taking what I saw from him last year, adding in the improvement that people are talking about, and I'm saying that's got to be one of our starters. The same with Keontae Scott. And it's not that Nehemiah Pritchett is anything to sneeze at. I don't think any of our guys are, but I want to see if DJ James, Rhyme, and I'm not familiar with Hundley or McClinton's games, but I want to see how they fit in. I think there's going to be opportunities to use like 5 DBs at one time. And in certain situations with a really pass-heavy team like Mississippi State, I bet they get real exotic from Mississippi State. Just to throw some different things out there. They know. This staff was able to get the best of an Alabama offensive line last year. And that wasn't by chance or by accident. They had to leave some things in their pocket. And I expect them to bring out different things for the opponent, specifically for the opponent. And I expect at least 6 of these guys to get on the field and contribute consistently. We're not talking like, hey, get out there for a punt return. No, I expect to see at least 6 guys with, let's say, 50 snaps before Penn State. That's what I'm expecting. So, who exactly is going to be? Those are my 2 for the starters. Everything else will rotate, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a general, you're going to be used here for this guy because your skill set is going to be best for who we're about to play. But Scott, with the ball hawking skills, the ball skills that he has, there's no way you can leave him off the field. And that's why that's my the corner I'm watching the most.
So I'm hearing Keontae and Simpson on the ends.
That's what I feel.
And you got Pritchett as a slot.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Of course, I'm not Zach Etheridge, so you know.
So I know Simpson is of the returning guys, he graded out the highest last year in coverage. So it's good to hear that, according to Donovan Kaufman, who we'll talk about in a minute, he actually picked up some speed. He says he's been flying all over the field lately. So I'm excited to hear that, because he was a sure tackler in open field. But I definitely felt like he could have been a little bit faster last year. So to hear that he's worked on that is a good deal. Mike G, what are your thoughts about this? Who are you liking so far in terms of what you've been hearing in camp? What are your thoughts about the cornerback position?
First and foremost, I'm expecting big things from this group because I'm expecting shutouts. And you can't have a damn shutout unless your corners are shutting people down on the outside. So I expect Nehemiah Pritchett and Jalen Simpson to have monster seasons. These are guys that we've heard about repeatedly this offseason. Ike has talked about Jalen Simpson a lot in terms of how he's one of the surest tacklers on this team. Yeah, you're going to get some of that. It's my birthday, so I get to do what I want. Jalen Simpson is...
Only on your birthday, right?
Yeah, Jalen Simpson is a damn hitter. He's going to knock the hell out of somebody. Nehemiah Pritchett is burning mofos up on the field. Guys, this is a really good – I think this is a chance to be a really strong group. Now, outside of that, we've heard great things about DJ James. We've heard he's got that dog in him. So I expect to see some great things from him. The young guy, Austin Osbury, I don't know how much he plays this year, but this was a big flip for us from LSU in the offseason. So he'll be a contributor, I think, early in the season in some of these blowouts. If you can get these guys some on-the-field experience, you got 4 games, and you don't have to burn a year of eligibility for some of these guys. You can still get them in the games. So yeah. I like this group, man. Obviously, you miss Roger McCreary, but outside of that, I don't know how much of these other guys we miss.
Yeah, right? I think the thing about them is I was surprised that we those guys didn't really get a chance to contribute or make the impact we was hoping they would make.
Yeah,
it's almost like the opposite of what's happening with the guys we brought in this year. Like, as soon as Keontae Scott touched down, we've been hearing good things. We've been hearing good things about DJ James. And so it's been an opposite effect of last year. So, yeah, I agree, Mike. We really didn't hear much about anyone other than Roger McCreary. So I'm excited about the new crop of guys that's coming in. And we hoping that there's a new number 1 guy like we had last year.
Now look, Roger McCreary has huge shoes to fill. So that's not lost on me. I don't want to understate the impact that he had on this defense last year.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we have guys who can fill it, and maybe collectively. You know, he was a one-man shut down his side of the field kind of guy. Mm-hmm. But if you have 2 guys who can, hit and be sure tacklers and cover their guys, combined with what we think the pass rush is going to be, this defense has a chance to be really, really good. Yeah. So when a quarterback is throwing a ball while getting hit by Thanos or Eku or Derek Hall, I expect these guys to eat, man. So I expect to see some ducks flying out of that offensive backfield, picked off, return to the house, pick 6, cross the goal line, dance with the cheerleaders, get the ball back to the offense, right? Like, that's what I want to see from these defensive backs this year. Smoke had some very timely pick 6s over the course of his career. I think these guys have the chance to make those same kinds of plays, but even at a higher level. This defense could be way better than it was last year. We've got dogs back there, man. Keontae Scott, we interviewed him. I really like this kid. I think he'll contribute on special teams for sure this year. But special teams is where you kind of earn your stripes, man. If you're trying to get on the field, go out and make plays on special teams. I think Keontae Scott will play early, getting in on special teams. And in the event that we have attrition in that defensive backfield, you'll see him out there making plays as well. So I'm excited about this group. It feels like somebody's missing from this group.
They're probably in the safeties group that we're about to talk about.
Yeah. I was going to say there was another name, but yeah, you're right.
Let's move on and talk about that room. And some of you in the comments may have mentioned that already, but we'll talk about them. Here is the safeties. Returning, number 1, Donovan Kaufman. Number 11, Zion Puckett. Caden Bridges, who we've been hearing a lot of good things from. John Reese-Bellew. Coming in this year is Caleb Wooden, Craig McDonald, Marquise Gilbert, Paul Thompson Jr., and out the door is Bydarius Knighton, Smoke Monday, Eric Reed Jr., and Devin Geis. So continue on with this. Who were you thinking about? Were you thinking about Donovan Kaufman, Mike?
I was thinking about Craig McDonald because we heard he had a scoop and score in the scrimmage.
Okay.
Now, we were told in the open field,
it took him a while to get there.
He might have got walked, but he got there. He did get there. So maybe speed isn't his thing. But we've heard some great things about this. On this list are some guys that have interviewed with us. And as a rule of life, if you interview with the War Report, you're probably going to be a star the next season. So I'm looking for Donovan Kaufman to be that guy this year. I can't stress enough. We're going to play a clip from the interview, but this kid learned some things from last season. He's got that dog mindset. He talked about those Louisiana boys are just built different. There's something in the water down there in the boot. Something about the water down there, but he has a chance to really build on last season. The A&M game, he took a bad angle, let a guy get by him, but he didn't give up and he punched the ball out and he did some things. And we talked to him about that game. I like this. I think this group has a chance to be significant playmakers the same way that the corner group does as well, too. So this is a good room. Now, what did you lose? Smoke. Obviously, a lot of experience went out the door, but maybe a couple of targeting penalties, too. By Darius Knighton, there was some decent, I think, experience that left there as well, too. He was a grad transfer. But at the end of the day, again, we get Craig McDonald is in here. Marquise Gilbert. They're playmakers in this group, man. Zion Puckett, I like this group a lot. There are some potential playmakers here, so I think they'll be deep. And if they have to rotate, I'm confident about the guy who's behind the guy.
Does this appear to be the deepest our safeties have been in a while? Because it always seems like we've had maybe 3, maybe 4 guys tops that we can really rely on in a game at safety. But from what I've been hearing, it's almost like we got three guys that we can rely on. Obviously, Kaufman may be in the slot. That's kind of who I think may be one of the slot corners. Depending on if they bring out 3 corners, but I'm loving the depth that we have this year. And to me, it makes this competition very intriguing as to who's going to take obviously I expect Zion Puckett to get one of those spots, but
yeah, I do too.
The competition for who's opposite of him is really going to be interesting. I've been hearing good things about Caden Bridges. Of course, you just mentioned Craig McDonald. There's Marquise Gilbert. So I'm excited to see, especially with this, this Friday scrimmage, if we hear some good things of the safety position. Mike G, who did you like starting as far as your corners and slot guys?
Oh, see, that's tough, man. You asking tough questions. The corners, I don't know, man. Any of them? Take your pick, man. I like a lot of those guys. I like Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pritchett, we've heard just way too much about him to ignore him. Potentially the fastest guy on the team, consistently mentioned as the fastest guy on the team. So I look for those guys first to step in. But I think that we have some potential other playmakers back there. It's just going to see. And then, for safeties, you can't ignore Donovan Kaufman's experience at this point. And maybe Craig McDonald. So we'll see. I'm interested to see what that defensive depth chart is going to look like. But I like those 4 guys. But that's not to say anything bad about the other guys. Wooden, Gilbert, Puckett, Bridges. I think all these guys have a chance to contribute this year as well, too.
I agree.
I think Wooden might end up being the best player in this room. Honestly, he's just young. So his full potential won't be realized this year. He won't have enough reps with the guys who are good in front of him. But that's who I think Caleb Wooden is going to be outstanding in due time.
We heard a lot about him even in spring. He made some noise fresh out of high school. Exclusive TV. Appreciate you hanging out with us, man. He says, imagine 3 lockdown corners plus the safeties. That's a scary sight when you think about what we already have up front with our defensive line, right?
Yeah,
so
man.
He also says the fact Zion weighs 200 plus pounds is a scary sight.
It is. It is.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's nuts to think about that this guy can be bringing all that weight, and we've heard everybody's gotten faster too. So he's going to be flying at people. There's a 200-pound cannonball coming at you.
Yeah, for sure. What can I think you're in here. Tell me what do you think about this safety room? You kind of gave your thoughts earlier about the cornerbacks, but who are you liking?
I heard some great things about Caden Bridges. I think that he's definitely going to be a solid contributor. Donovan Kaufman, actually, though he's listed as safety, maybe playing a little bit of the slot corner for us, maybe a little bit of nickel. And, he's going to be a committed contributor, again, according to him, in the special teams room as well. So looking forward to that. The guys who I think is going to be interesting are going to be Craig McDonald and Marquise Gilbert out of this room, because I think Craig McDonald brings the experience from playing at a Power 5 school, and he's likely going to get the nod from that perspective. But Marquise Gilbert probably has more of the profile of what you want as far as size, speed.
Right.
If he can get up to speed quickly, that's going to be imposing. But the most interesting person in here, outside of new guy Caleb Wooden, who I expect to be great going into the future, 2 or 3 years of great safety play out of him, is Zion Puckett, because he is kind of in that hybrid linebacker size, DB ball skills type of person. And I just think that he's going to be a guy who's going to be out there maybe punishing people, man. Like he allows us to be very multiple in the ways that we can line up because of his size, because he is more like a linebacker, and he's going to be able to play that hybrid role. There's a lot of guys in that mold in the NFL right now who have linebacker size but have DB skills. So he translates really well if they can figure out how to make him that kind of player. That star position, if you guys remember, that we used to have, is really what that was. It was a hybrid DB linebacker. And Donovan Kaufman fits that perfectly. So I'm definitely looking forward to see how he's going to be utilized specifically in this defense to allow us to maybe have a look that looks like 6 DBs, but essentially have an additional linebacker-sized person in there.
Right.
You know, this is year 2 under this in this new defense. First year with Schmetting, who's already been on staff. You know, there was kind of a learning curve as the defense was kind of being asked to do some different things coverage wise. Your thoughts on them being able to play a little bit faster on the back end, seeing as though they have a better understanding of what the coaches are asking them to do this year?
Yeah. No, I absolutely think that's going to be happening this year. I think the entire defense is going to be able to play faster. That's one of the questions we did talk. Did we? I haven't looked at the entire edited interview yet, Mike. Was that on when we were talking? When I was asking him what were they doing with this whole thing that we?
Hey, I didn't cut it out.
I saw. Yeah, it's
I
there.
didn't cut it
it's
out.
There.
Yeah, because it was not. He said they changed it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so like we could put this in there because it was too funny to cut out. Yeah.
So I think they understand what it is that they're being asked to do. He also talked about like the number of installs of different types of things that they're trying. So this defense is going to be exotic. Like they're going to be trying to throw a lot of looks at people. And so you can see that defensive coordinator Jeff Schmetting has a lot of ideas of different things that they want to be able to do with this group. And that's encouraging because I think that this defense can be very multiple. So for him to say, yeah, I mean, they're essentially installing something new every day, every practice, they're getting a new look that they're able to throw out there. If they can get a portion of that, a good portion of that down, that will allow them to just be like, okay, you guys remember when we did this one thing this one time? We're going to go back to that for this game because of, man, that's exciting. That means every Saturday you try it out there, you can be seeing a different Auburn defense that's catered for that offense that they're going up against. And I like to see stuff like that.
I like that too. And how beneficial you think that'd be to the offense if they're seeing all types of like exotic looks in practice throughout the week? How does that prepare them for the season, you think?
I mean, I think it allows the quarterbacks to be able to see a multiplicity of looks and be more prepared for different things that they may be able to have or may have to go up against as they get into the season. I mean, the thing about it is it's helpful, but it's also like one of those things where you never really get comfortable seeing a particular look as well. So you don't, get to really go against it a bunch of times. I mean, look, man, this cover 2 shell that they're doing, I know exactly how to attack that. That means that you've really got to be on your film game as an offensive as a quarterback and an offensive line. Really, it's just kind of understanding what these looks mean for us. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out as we start to get into game planning. And figuring out how to pare this down for a specific week of practice. And like, we're really going to go through these 5 looks and these 5 beaters for this particular type of stuff. So I'm interested to see how this, it sounds very NFL, the way that they're rolling a lot of this stuff out.
I love it.
I love it. So it's going to be interesting to see how, again, the speed in which you are able to play. That's one of the things that made Kevin Steele, I guess, his defense is formidable is because they could play fast. They didn't have to think a lot. Like their responsibilities were essentially the same for the vast majority of the things that they were doing. So you can play faster because you're not thinking as much. This defense seems to be a little bit more complex. So you have to kind of really know what you're doing, which showed last year. Like guys didn't know what their responsibilities were. Sometimes play to play, the calls were coming in a little bit late. So you're having to adjust on the fly while remembering, oh yeah, we're in this defense with this shell and we're doing this kind of stunt up front that has this back end blitz and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So which gap responsibility am I doing here? Like that's a lot to have to process in a very short amount of time. So how quickly, and that's why I think when I talk about Craig McDonald, I think his experience is going to be helpful, because even if I don't know exactly what the call was on this particular play, I know what this formation was on this particular offense that we're going up against. Oh yeah, I've seen this before on tape. He can process those things maybe a little bit more quickly than a Marquise Gilbert, than a Caleb Wood, and then you know what I'm saying, like guys who just haven't had that type of responsibilities before at this level. So hopefully it'll play dividends as we start to get into the season, him being able to have more of a quarterbacking feel for the defense on the back end. So hopefully that'll be what we'll see.
And I'm curious to see too the communication. You kind of talked about it, Ike. That was something that seemed to be kind of off at times last year with the secondary. I mean, it got better as the season went on, as they began to figure some things out. But I'm definitely eager to see how that is, getting calls in, the communication with the secondary. Are they talking? Are they, do they look lost out there? I definitely want to see how we look the first few weeks into the season for sure. So, guys, we want to hear from you, your thoughts in terms of this defensive back room, cornerback, safeties. Who's your breakout guy? Who do you have starting? Who do you have winning the starting jobs going into the season? We want to hear from you. Guys, remember to share this video, guys, on social media using hashtag #GetYourWeight Up. Help people to find this content, this conversation. Smash the like button, guys. Don't just be out there lurking, and please subscribe if you are new to the channel. Let's take a quick break to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Report.
This edition of the War Report is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial future, let Athletic Architects help you to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, War Eagle Oil. War Eagle Oil is your #1 place for all of your motor oil and related products. For more information, visit WarEagleOil.com.
You're muted.
Yep, I did that on accident. Anyway, make sure that you guys are locked in with us on all the things that we have coming up. If you're not a member already, get your membership refreshed. I know some of you guys dropped off in the off season, but we are back. And we are better than ever coming into football season. You want to make sure you have your green name because you see the benefits there on the screen. But you also, if you guys remember, listen, we're giving away tickets. If you want to be able to get in on this ticket giveaway, you have to be a member this year. Last year, we gave opportunities to non-members and all that sort of thing. This year, we're just upping the benefits of those people who've decided to help us continue to bring you guys this great content. So we want to send you all to games. So make sure that you have that. We're going to be doing this drawing here coming up in the next week. So you don't have a lot of time to get on board with that. So make sure you do that. Also, you want to make sure that you are locked in because you're going to get access to content. We've been teasing this, but we did do an interview with Donovan Kaufman. So we're going to give you a little preview of what that conversation was like. This will be going live for everyone tomorrow, but here's a little snippet of our conversation with Donovan Kaufman. Talk to me how it's been playing in this defense and just your experience so far at Auburn University.
This defense is great. I'm not gonna lie, this defense is great. We probably got the best D-line in the country.
How were you testing yourself against, competition in the summer to prepare for the fall?
The strength staff did a great job. Like, they changed things around this summer. They gave us more speed days. Like, a lot of our team got stronger, faster. Like, our numbers went up a lot. So give credit to them for that.
How hard are these quarterbacks to defend as a defensive back so far through fall camp?
First, I was going to say, I believe I picked every single one of them all. So,
yeah,
I was going to get that out there first.
I'm tagging them in that right there.
I don't know if I picked Robbie off, though. I don't really remember. But I definitely know I got TJ and Zach.
All right.
100%. I probably got them more than once, too.
As a defensive back, when Robbie is back, tell us how that changes for you guys, because he can extend plays with his legs.
You know, Robbie, man, we alert. We like, hey, 9 in the game. Like you said, dude, shit, you go crazy on his legs. He fast. He be floating. So, he can break the pocket. Shit, he might break a 90-yarder. Like, he got that type of skill set in him. So, Robbie.
Great conversation there with Donovan Kaufman, man. It was definitely interesting to be able to hear him talk about his experiences and what he's looking forward to doing this year. So you guys lock in with that. Also today, and as always, we're giving away something. The AU t-shirt is the giveaway today. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to be able to enter this. We'll be doing this drawing here in about 25 minutes or so. You have to be present to win. So if you drop the hashtag and you dip, sorry to this man. Don't know what to tell you. You will not be getting that giveaway. You will look back and you'll be like, oh, you guys called my name, and you'll be sad. And everybody will laugh at you, and I will join them in their laughter. Also, just make sure that you guys know that we are on all of our podcast platforms as the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. So if you want to be able to be hearing just in the audio format, you need to make sure you are locked in with the Auburn Express wherever you view or listen to podcasts. We are there, and we will be giving you all this great content, including pod or audio only formatted stuff as well. So guys, just make sure that you are tuned in there. And if you have a lot of anxiety, if you are maybe, Shankopotamus, who is really concerned about the quarterback position, and you just need a moment to be able to get your thoughts together and get some calm, maybe you can visit our folks at the Rogue Shop.
This episode of the War Report is brought to you in part by Rogue Shop. Looking to reduce stress or improve your quality of sleep? Rogue Shop has you covered with a wide range of premium products, including gummies, bath salts, and oils. Go to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT when you check out. That way, they know we sent you. All right?
Guys, let's get back into it. But first...
Hold on, wait, Caesar. About the interview, I just want to point out that when we brought up Robbie Ashford, he was like, they're like, 9's in the game. 9's in the game. He could take it 90 yards. I don't think this can be ignored when we've seen that all three of these quarterbacks are in this quarterback race right now. And I think that people should note that 9, as Donovan put it, brings something different. He brings a different element to this offense. And I could see when we get down in the red zone, them putting 9 in there and having some packages that essentially open up the playbook when you're trying to get into the end zone. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Robbie poach touchdowns inside the 10, when the season starts, based on what the guys on defense are telling us.
Yeah, I mean, Robbie Ashford is going to play minutes for Auburn this fall. I don't care who wins the starting job. He either wins the job and he's the starter, or someone else wins and he's going to have packages, but he will definitely be playing and making an impact on games this fall.
Yeah.
Indeed. Listen, let's get into the super chat. Jonathan Harris, appreciate you, man, hanging out with us, and we appreciate the super chat. He says Caleb is also physically impressive. Kaufman will play everywhere, and I am hearing good things about Caden Bridges. Same here. I expect him and Gilbert to rotate at safety often, and McDonald in a lot of short yardage packages. Thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah. Listen, again, Donovan Kaufman, he said, look for rotation of secondary players. He's like, don't be surprised if you see us have, to your point, Jonathan, situational secondary packages or package like you're going to expect to see a lot of guys play in the secondary because they're going to want to get guys rest. Again, I think the key on this defense and what Jeff Schmedding, and this is not something that Donovan Kaufman said specifically, but just kind of putting it all together, they want to play fast. And they want to make sure that they're aggressive. you can't blitz a bunch and you can't play fast when you're tired. So he's going to rotate guys in and out. So I'm expecting to see that this year, and I'm looking to see us not falter late in games in the defensive secondary because guys are fresh, and he's going to be able to go to, all right, I know who my most technique sound guys are, and we need, a stop in the fourth quarter against, Bama to end this game out. Guys aren't going to be super tired in that scenario this year because they're going to be rotating more guys in and out throughout. The same thing that you typically see with a defensive line, rotations. I think we're going to see that with our secondary this year.
Indeed. Guys, let's talk about this scrimmage we have coming up this Friday. Auburn's will scrimmage on Friday. It's a big, important one. What are we expecting? What are we looking forward to seeing in this upcoming scrimmage? Of course, all eyes will be on the QB battle, but are there other things that you're looking forward to seeing in this upcoming scrimmage, guys?
You know what? They did a good job of switching up who played with which unit in the first scrimmage. So somebody played with the first team, then you're going to play with the second team guys, and you're going to play with the third team guys. So there would never be any inaccurate assessment of a guy who had the best offensive line blocking for him, the best running back, and the best wide receivers catching passes. So that's good on this coaching staff and a much more fair way to evaluate, I think. Different from the last regime, but we don't have to go there. I think there is going to be much of the same, but except maybe not so willy-nilly. It's not going to be so random. It's not going to be, hey, Robbie, you get with the 2s, TJ, you're with the 1s, Cal's out the 3s, and everybody rotate. I think they have an idea of who is closing the gap, who's making distance, and they're going to give them a chance to make their case. And this is really, and we talked about this before, the second scrimmage is where the money is made. The first one gives them an idea, okay, how much have you been absorbing of everything we've been doing, everything we did in the off season, whatever you were supposed to be studying, the little bits of training you could do with your coaches. Did you get it? All right. So maybe you got it, maybe you didn't, but it does take some time to work back into everyday practice. There's a reason you practice every day, man. You're not running whole games. Games are probably the best practice you'll ever get because you're doing it for a consistent amount of time with the same guys, 80 plays against real defenses. You can't get that in a 2-hour practice because you got to share reps with everybody. They're going to stop and they're going to tell you something. And then you got to wait until 3 more guys throw the same route before you get another chance to throw the route. In the game, continuous. Let's go. Let's go. And it means something. This will be the closest we get to that without there actually being a live game being played. What these guys do in this scrimmage will absolutely determine who comes out, because Harsin has not been elusive about, or, who, well, I don't know. Everybody's out there playing hard. He's like, no, he did really good. We had some problems with drops. Damari Austin's look like we're not painting this as everything's all good and we'll see thing. He's like, no, this is good. This is bad. Oh no, he did really good. It was rough that day. I so appreciate some real talk and not just coach speak, because the guys know what to expect. We know what to expect. So whoever trots out there is QB1, I expect it to be largely based on how they performed in this scrimmage, because this game prep after this, baby, that's it. They got 2 weeks to get up to this point. This is it. Everything that they've been putting into this is your best shot. I don't know if it's, well, we talked about whether or not Robbie could even be evaluated fairly because of what he can do with his athleticism that the other guys can't do. But I don't know, man. If every DB on the field and player on defense seems to know that it's a problem, I bet the coaches know Robbie's a problem. And even if he didn't take off and run it for 90 yards because, somebody blew the whistle and stopped that play, they know. And I don't think, again, Harsin is not in the position to hold cards. That's not what this season is. This season is the reestablishment of Auburn football in a direction that Harsin wants to take it for the rest of his career as a head coach. He has to prove now that he has improved this team. If Robbie Ashford shows out, that doesn't mean he's the best passer. That doesn't mean he's completing 70% of his passes. I've seen some reports and analysis talking about how many passes he's hitting and missing. And in some cases, he had the lowest percentage of completions in the drills. Man, I got to tell y'all, I rewatched some Nick Marshall tape over the last few days. Man, them passes weren't pretty. Not all of them. Very rarely were they. he had a knack for being able to make the right play when it counted. One of the best throws he made in 2013, a touchdown throw to C.J. Uzomah with a game on the line against Mississippi State. That was one of the most accurate passes I've ever seen. That in 2014 against Bama. He looked like Joe Montana, but I'm like, what in the hell is going on? He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn at times in the national championship game, which was like, wow, what's going on? But in very specific situations, he just had it. And that athleticism made so much of a difference. Now, we're not running a spread offense, motion offense. We're not running the offense that Nick Marshall was so well suited for. But there is no situation where a guy that athletic cannot be dangerous on every single play. I expect this to come down to Finley and Robbie, and I don't expect it to be settled in this scrimmage. I expect it to be contested. I don't expect it to be Finley going away. I do believe everything that's being said about the command and the leadership that Finley is displaying, but you don't have that. Robbie has something that nobody else has. And if he's showing consistently enough to be getting those number 2 reps when the scrimmage, I think he's in, I don't want to say the driver's seat, but he has a higher ceiling because he doesn't have the experience yet. But what happens when you give him some? He doesn't have the rapport and the offense yet. But what happens when you give him some combined with his athleticism? I think the distance that a Robbie Ashford can take you, assuming he does pass well enough to satisfy the coach's requirements of him, because I think that's probably a major difference between this program and other programs. They'd be like, whoever's going to give me the best chance to win games right now, let's go. This coaching staff wants you to be able to quarterback mentally, not call a play. Oh, I didn't get it and run. Oh, you got 15 yards. Well, don't worry about it. Let's you keep doing that. No, they want you to call an accurate game. They want you to read the defense, audible if it's needed. Do everything that counts as a quarterback because they are trying to project everybody to the next level. And that includes you. And that includes the next all-world dual threat 5-star that wants to get to the next level and doesn't just want to run around spinning circles around defenses because he knows that's not going to get him drafted in the NFL and that's not going to get him paid in the NFL. Harsin has to show with whoever it is, whether it's Finley or Robbie or Calzada, you are going to play the quarterback position. Scouts are going to be salivating, not just at a throw you made downfield, but at a call you made at the line of scrimmage that got you a first down when your original call would have got stuffed. Robbie Ashford may not be able to do that as well as TJ Finley right now. Give him a minute, man. Give him a minute.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we don't know that he can already do it, right? Like, because you're talking about drops, but we're just talking about completion percentage, but we don't know how many of those are drops. We don't know how many of those are errant, like, you know what I mean? Like, our fan base tends to fall into the trap of thinking every incompletion is on the quarterback, or most of them even. Right.
That's true.
That's
not true.
Like, I don't know.
They didn't think that last year.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
but
right,
but I'm just saying, well, about one guy got that benefit of the doubt. But I'll tell you what, like the rest of them, almost every other quarterback we've ever had, it's like, oh, well, he do this, he do. Look, there's nothing that's happening in fall camp that doesn't matter right now. Like every single thing they're doing in camp matters. So this scrimmage is just as impactful as the first one. Every practice, every opportunity you get to go out right now matters
for sure.
So, I don't know that, this is your chance, right? The summer, the coaches have limited time. They get 2 hours a week with you. So when fall camp comes here, you've got a couple of weeks to essentially show them what the culmination of all your work this summer has been. How close are you to game ready? And the guy that shows us that he's the closest to game ready is probably the guy that's going to win the job. But that's about knowing the system. We're not seeing enough right now. Like nobody knows right now but the coaches how close one player is to being game ready because nobody's seeing enough of it to be able to tell. Them little media window viewings. Like
that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, come on, man.
But before hold that. Before you get going, let me grab some super chats real quick. And first, I want you to think about where Jazzy is as we bring in the Jazzy.
Yeah, welcome to another Jazzy Challenge.
Where is he for 100 and an extra 100 if you guess the city?
He's on his phone.
I am going to say he's at the home base right now, which I don't remember. It's Missouri, but I forget which city it was.
Was it
Mike, you
Springfield?
guessed the city last time.
Was it
What city was
Springfield?
it?
It was Springfield, Missouri. Yeah, last time.
I'm gonna go with Springfield, Missouri, is where he is right now. I don't have any reason to guess that, but just because he said if you can guess the city, I'm gonna guess a city that I would have a good chance of knowing. So
that's not a bad guess. Missouri. It's not a bad guess. Where was he last time?
Well, no, wait. Was it Springfield, Missouri?
What's Springfield?
I'm taking.
I know. I think we had one since then.
We had one and we missed it because it was the guess. It was
he was in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was the Oklahoma thing.
Yeah,
because the sugar thing, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's not.
Let's do that.
That's not a bad guess at all, Ike.
Yeah,
for sure.
I said I don't
given
remember
where he
what
was last
it was,
time,
but it was. I'm gonna go with the one in Missouri.
I feel like it's my birthday, so he should just text me where he's at. So I can get it. Is that against the rules? I'm gonna go. I think he's in the South somewhere.
I was gonna say Atlanta, Georgia.
This dude's in Alabama. He's a motherfucker in Alabama right now.
Where about? Think he's in Birmingham?
What is the worst place you could be in Alabama?
Tuscaloosa
or Montgomery. Either one of those places are regrettable.
I'm gonna say, wait, are you? Yes, your state, Mike. You saying Alabama, but you're trying to guess the city.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with maybe he's down. Maybe he's down in Mobile somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
No reason to say the same state. So I'm gonna say a different state just in case. I'm going to say, did you say Missouri, Ike?
Mm-hmm.
Say Missouri again. Let's go the other side. I'm gonna say South Carolina, so I can get all those touching it right there.
I think I'm gonna change mine to Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, we got our 4 guesses.
Yeah, all right.
Jazzy, let us know what's
So
up.
I'm saying Columbia for the record, not that I think he's actually there, but
all right, let's just get your city in there. Okay, you wanted to talk about the window.
Oh
that
yeah,
the media has
man.
access
This media
to.
viewing windows thing, man. So listen, guys, the media is there for like 30 minutes, and they're mostly watching drills.
20
minutes.
25. Really?
So this is not a full practice worth of anything. And any player who we've talked to, and most of the coaches will tell you, well, specifically the players, because they're the ones who are there for the entirety of practice, said it's really anybody's. They don't know.
Yeah, right.
The players don't even know right now because it's that close. Now, that could mean a couple of things. That could mean nobody's really separated themselves. They've all been kind of But what you're hearing from receivers is, man, you know what? We've got 3 pretty good options at quarterback right now. And any of those guys that you throw out there, I think we're going to have a good shot at winning football games. I'm encouraged by that. Now, of course, they're standing up for their guys, right? Like, I don't know how much of that you can take at face value, but what I do know is that I feel good about where we are at quarterback. I've said this over and over again, that I think that I would be happy with any of those guys quarterbacking my football team in the fall, but I'm also excited with the prospect of, if it doesn't work out, we can go to a backup.
Right.
So what I expect to, going back to the original question, to see in this scrimmage is somebody's going to go out there and give us day 2 of consistency, because having one good scrimmage and then you follow it up with a bad one, that doesn't feel good to me. Like and this, again, I know this sounds like the Cape for Finley podcast right now, but because Finley did well in the first one, I want to see him do well in the second one, because then I'll have more confidence that he can reproduce those results. If Finley doesn't play well this second time, then that's going to be bad for me, because you're not going to have the consistency you need to be able to display to play week after week in the league coming into the fall. So I want to see that from that standpoint of knowing it wasn't just he had a good practice. he had a good scrimmage. I want to see consistency there. Now, Coach had good things to say about all three quarterbacks. So if we hear him come back and say, you know what, all three of them had a really good practice again, I'm going to love hearing that, because that's going to, again, give me confidence that what we saw was just not a good day. It's a thing that's you can reproduce over and over again. Right. So that's what I'm expecting to see. Secondarily, what I'm hoping to have happen is, and we haven't talked about this much, but we'll get into it, is the offensive line be able to play and have another good practice where they're making movement in the run game. I want to see more of that being able to happen, because that's going to give me confidence that our run game is going to be able to stack up against whoever we. Now, again, you're going to have games where the defense is just that good. Texas A&M is going to have a good defense. Georgia's going to have a good defense. So you're going to need to be able to do that sort of thing consistently to be able to get a good product. But you definitely need to get that run game moving. And I want to see the offensive line perform well again for another scrimmage.
You can't be wrong on your birthday, baby. You can't be. I was born on third base.
I swear to everyone here, I'm not telling this fool where I am.
I was born on third base.
Get the guess. Nice.
I got luck when I pull up the map. I'm gonna have to start doing that more often. Every time we pulled up the map, he's been there, right? Mobile, huh? Because I was just like, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes you just gotta be in Mobile, you know. Hey, listen. So the idea behind this practice, the other thing that I think, you know, when we talk about media viewing periods and people, you know, talking about what they've seen at practice, one of the points I want to make is that there are people who have made up their mind about certain players. So if that player wins the job, it automatically means all the players behind them are trash.
Right.
And I get sick of that narrative. I really do. Like, this player's not that. I don't think this player's that good, or I don't think this player could have improved. So if these guys didn't beat him out, then they can't be good.
Right.
You know, how many times do we have to say, just because a guy doesn't win the job in fall camp, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have talent, or that he's not going to be the best quarterback we have this season, or the best running back, or the best wide receiver. There are lots of reasons one guy wins it and another guy comes on strong late. And the coaches have reasons for maybe they see potential in a player, right? But they're going to give him a few games to get a little bit more out of him before they put him in. So you don't set that player up to fail. Now, I get really sick of just hearing these narratives about the play, because you've made up your mind about a player. So again, when that player doesn't perform like you thought they would perform, that means everybody else can't be good.
Yeah.
These guys have talent, man. These guys have talent. Robbie Ashford has talent. TJ Finley has talent. Zach Calzada has talent. You know, I saw some tweets talking about, like, you know, Calzada fooled us all on Twitter.
Oh yeah. No, did you see Ray his coach actually responded to somebody who said that and was like I never was trying to sell you guys on anything other than Zach was working hard, right? Like, this isn't me doing a sales job on anybody.
Not on Zach, but he's running a business.
Right.
Business where he coaches quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So he's putting out videos of him working with quarterbacks. Zach is, if you follow his Twitter, like, there are plenty of videos of other quarterbacks working on this channel.
Right.
Tons. I see them all the time. So I'm just thinking to myself, I believe in this room. All three of these guys, I feel like, had a shot. And even the young guy, even though experience is the only reason he's not seriously in this quarterback race right now.
Right.
Experience and adjustment to the college level. But Holden Garner has a ton of talent. You know, I don't understand why it's so hard for us to believe there's three guys maybe that can possibly do the job in their own way.
Because we never had three guys who can get the job
done.
And
that essentially is the issue that our fan base has never had to be able to come to grips with. Is it's possible that we have a lot of people who can play positions, and you know what? Only one of them can see the field. Only at max, you're going to have 5 wide receivers at one time on the field. So with a room that's got 12 guys in it, everybody's not going to see the field all the time. It's possible that you have enough talent to fill out a roster. And if somebody goes down, you have competent backups. That's possible. It happens at other places. It can happen at Auburn. Embrace that reality and be okay if the guy who you were rooting for doesn't win the starting spot, and know he still has an opportunity to make an impact on this football team. Just maybe not in the way that you thought game one.
Right.
And that's okay.
I think there are a lot of guys like who convince themselves that you have to be mobile to be good at the position.
Well, that's because that's what we've seen traditionally as good at Auburn most recently.
But, you know, I just don't – it can look a lot of different ways, and I think the coaches know that. So if, you know, this Robbie – if you put Robbie Ashford at quarterback, it's not going to be the same offense they have mapped out for TJ Finley.
For sure.
And to me, that was the reason why TJ wasn't able to be as successful immediately as Bo Nix had grown into being last year, is because they hadn't been calling plays for TJ. They had been learning an offense that was catered to Bo Nix and his ability to run.
Correct.
They're not running naked bootlegs with TJ Finley like they would have been with Bo Nix. They're not calling QB scrambles. They're not going to be calling a freaking QB draw with TJ Finley. So they have to figure out which package of plays works well for this group of people. And it's going to take some time to be able to do that sort of thing. It's completely possible that in this entire offseason, they've said, this is what we know TJ does really well. We're going to have an offense structured to be able to highlight that, and he's going to learn that, and he's going to be really good at that. Yeah. And then they went out and they got someone else who has similar skill sets to him in Zach Calzada and said, if TJ doesn't work out, we've got a backup plan. And because we do have this offense that can be multiple, we need a guy with some wheels. So we're going to go out and get a guy with some wheels to be able to say, if we need to go to that bag, we have somebody who can run that, because TJ's not that guy. Zach Calzada is not that guy. So if it's not working out in this respect, the offensive line maybe hasn't taken the steps that we want. We've got somebody who can come in and they can run an offense that has the legs to be able to do this sort of thing.
Right.
Because our offense has the capacity to do all of those things. It's completely possible that they had enough foresight. Looks a lot like that's exactly what they did if you go and look at what their offseason moves were. But again, I'm not in this coaching staff's head.
Especially since you had you had the quarterbacks all spring.
Right.
Yeah.
Last year, you didn't have TJ Finley for the spring either.
Correct.
And that cannot be understated. So even if you were putting something in, he lost the whole spring with this team to be able to work on that stuff with this team.
Correct.
Then we throw him in at the end and everybody just hangs it up on him because it didn't look great. Like last year ideally, I think we would have wanted to win 9 games last year. But the truth is, the evidence was there that it was most likely going to be a 6 or 7 win season because we were changing systems and there were going to be growing pains.
Yeah.
Shout
out to Steve Vest, who always was warning us of that. I have to sometimes give people their props for having the foresight of that.
Yeah, Steve definitely was just like, hey, guys, this is a 500 team. Yeah, I was hopeful for more, but I don't feel like anybody who was predicting 8 or 9 wins was really that off either.
Right.
No, we definitely had the potential to get there. We were on the precipice.
Because you're not predicting Bo Nix getting hurt.
Right.
Some of the things that led to that 6-win season, you could not have predicted.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes this season. I think Robbie Ashford plays a role this year no matter what.
Correct.
And I think whether it's TJ or Zach at the one, what you're going to see is they're going to throw Robbie Ashford is going to be their offensive wild card where they're going to throw him in and you're not going to know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Because everybody's going to think run. And then Harsin is going to let it rip. And they're going to burn somebody. Mark my words, Robbie Ashford throws a 75-yard touchdown this season.
I'd like to see it.
Robbie Ashford throws a 75-yard touchdown this season.
Hey, I'm here for it.
They're going to put him in as a changeup, thinking they need to pick up 5 yards. It's going to be like 2nd and 5 or something. Early in the drive, they're going to put in Robbie Ashford. Everybody's going to be thinking run, and Robbie is just going to do him in. Everything I say on my birthday is going to happen. So this is going to happen.
Speaking of running it in, Stuart Donald says 4th and 1 with Tank and Jackson in the backfield, 3 tight ends. TJ under center just feels more beefy.
Listen, here's my thing. I said it the last time. We haven't been able to quarterback sneak in 3 years.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, if you go back and think about it, Jared Stidham was okay at the sneak. He was okay at it. But before that, like, none of those guys, Jeremy Johnson, for whatever reason, just trips over his own feet and stuff like that. Like, he couldn't really, like, 4th and very short was a very difficult down to call with a quarterback who can't sneak. It is. Because then you introduce one other thing that could be a problem, because the exchange between the center and quarterback is already a problem. If the guy's not good at taking the under center snap, then you introduce that issue. Then you got to worry about a handoff, and then you got to worry about it getting blocked up. Like, it's just, you compound your reasons why 4th and short can be problematic. And so I think that we need to be able to have a quarterback who can do those sorts of things.
Fair.
Yeah, agreed.
Good talk, gentlemen. Good talk. Let's get into it, guys. We are giving away something like we do all the time. We're giving away an AU t-shirt brought to you by War Eagle Oil. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to get a chance to win this t-shirt. There was a time, guys, where we used to give you an opportunity to get in here and get your weight up and enter to win. But with 300 plus people watching live, you have had your chance. Take it away, Ike.
Yeah, I'm still in here. I'm just not on the screen right now, but I'm going to hit this button so we can get this drawing going. So y'all go ahead and get that popping right now.
Who's it gonna be? Melanie!
Yes, love it. We already know she in here.
We are. Melanie, are you here?
She's here. We sending it to her.
So your son will throw a 75-yard pass, and you just want an AU t-shirt. What a night!
What a night!
What a night!
That is a sign. That is prophetic. That is a sign from God that this is going to go down the way we think it's going to go down. So, like,
it's a good omen. It's a good omen for sure. Congratulations to her. And we need to send Mike some chill boy because he's too turned up on his birthday. But just a word from our sponsor real quick.
Treat your boys. Chill Boys underwear is designed for maximum comfort with enough space to keep you cool, calm, and comfortable. Chill Boys underwear will help you keep the boys close, not too close. When the game is on the line, you won't break a sweat with Chill Boys underwear. Whether it's left boy, right boy, or both boys, Chill Boys provides your boys comfort like you never felt. Maximize your chill with Chill Boys.
Hey, listen, go get some Chill Boys. She's claiming it.
And she's claiming it's going to happen. She's talking about the touchdown.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably more where that came from too. If his mama asked for it,
but she's claiming the t-shirt too. We got her. We don't have to do the whole thing.
Yeah, but
we ain't got to do all that.
Sponsored by War Eagle Oil. Yeah. If you want to be able to get in on the next one, we'll be giving stuff away every time. But thank you to War Eagle Oil for sponsoring this t-shirt giveaway. Melanie Ashford winning it this time, man. Definitely glad to see that happen. Better luck next time for the rest of the chat, though.
Definitely. Guys, I wasn't gonna tell anybody it was my birthday today. Like I was gonna keep it quiet. And
by the way, Mike, I have your birthday in my calendar, so I don't care. You can change it. That's why, you can change it on Facebook. It doesn't matter. I know your birthday.
It used to be. That's the only way I used to remember anybody's birthday was Facebook. And now I'm not on Facebook ever, so I tell people just don't get mad at me if I miss your birthday by like 12 hours or something. But yeah, it's been a good birthday. Thankful to be here. I'm thankful for the War Report, man. I am thankful. I'm thankful for those of you who just hit me up. I was kind of joking, but kind of serious. So you guys hit me up at War Damn Transfer. I got hella toilet paper money just now.
Yeah.
Lots.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the 3-ply stuff this time. You know what I mean? I don't even have to go cheap anymore. But we have some interesting things. I wanted to talk about the practice reports just one more time before we move on. Yeah. I just want to stress, I want to caution everybody about these practice reports. There's a lot of people who are going to watch these 20 minutes and making some definitive statements about what they think is going to happen this fall. And the race is just not over.
Correct.
Every single one of those practices and scrimmages matter. And that's, what B was talking about. That was the point I wanted to make. Like, you heard the reports out of the first scrimmage, but that first scrimmage is just as important as the next scrimmage and all the practices in between. Right. So we're seeing that sample size, but just because a guy may not have done good in that scrimmage, it doesn't erase the totality of everything that he did in practice leading up to that scrimmage.
Correct.
Right.
The coaches are taking all that information to make a decision about who's going to be the guy at every single position. So, I can't stress enough, just because a guy doesn't win the job in fall camp doesn't mean that he's automatically not good. Plenty of guys didn't win the job in fall camp. Stetson Bennett didn't win the job in fall camp. Led his team to a national title.
Calzada didn't win it in fall camp last year.
Right. Yeah. Ended up the quarterback. Right. There are so many examples of guys who couldn't win a job somewhere. Joe Burrow, we talk about him a lot, but again, third in the quarterback room, had to go play someplace else. So why is it these guys that couldn't get on the field someplace else and went to another school and killed it? We can believe that can happen, but we believe it can't. We don't believe it can happen here. I don't care what Robbie Astor did at Oregon. I don't. He's at Auburn, and our coaches brought him in for a reason, because they see something. Just because he didn't get on the field there doesn't mean that he's not going to do shit here. This whole thing about Calzada got processed out at A, I don't buy that, man. All these guys have ability. And I just think it's just crappy for fans to, wax poetic in the offseason about a guy's potential at something he's been working at his whole life. Until we've really, really seen it. Taking small sample sizes and just disregarding all the nuance about what it takes to win a starting job, and that coaches are not infallible.
Yeah, and I think the thing that frustrates me too is that we're so willing, and I say we, I mean the fan base at large, so willing to ignore the things that a guy does well, as opposed to saying, you know what, if he can just do that. And again, I get the inconsistency, because I don't like inconsistency. I just think the sample size is too small for you to have recognized a pattern. This is a thing that I kind of get tired of having to rehash with people about my patience with new coaching staffs or particular players. Is the sample size is too small for me. I'm not telling you what to do with your evaluation. For me to make an evaluation of what a player, a coach, or whatever is over a small sample size. Mm-hmm. I can see evidence of certain things, but I also believe fundamentally people can change once they see, you know what, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Let me tweak, let me make adjustments. I need to be able to see that before I make a final evaluation over something. I can say, you know what, this doesn't look good. I can point at the things that I've seen from TJ Finley and say, these things I don't like. He needs to clean this up. He needs to do this to make himself a better, more reliable QB1 option. Right. But I can also do those things and say, hey, man, if he can do these things more often and improve this, he's going to be a great quarterback. But I just don't think 8 starts is enough time to be able to say that definitively.
Correct. Right.
People want me to bag on Coach Harsin the way that I was about Coach Malzahn. I saw 8 years of Coach Malzahn to make that evaluation, not year one. Right. But if I was looking at year one's returns for Coach Malzahn, I'd be anticipating national title runs every year. And that's exactly what I did not get.
Right.
So I can't make that if you're willing to make your evaluation quickly, then you need to be able to eat your crow just as quickly. And that's the problem I have with a lot of people. They don't want to eat their crow. They don't want to say, you know what, I was completely wrong about that.
Correct.
I was completely wrong about
well, to the point about TJ, I mean, I think that was the biggest, when people said we were caping for TJ, particularly me, you caping for TJ, you caping for TJ. I'm just like, no, I'm just not counting him out based on this really small sample size.
Correct.
I'm just
right. And really the caping just came in defense because a lot of people were starting to panic because he appeared to be the front runner. And it's not that you're caping, it's just our head coach is speaking positively about him.
That's it. I think that speaks to the fact that we weren't counting him out ever this whole offseason.
Right.
And I thought that Calzada would come in and compete at a high level. I think he did to the extent that he could, that he missed the spring. And I just think all these guys have talent. And I could see this thing being successful with any of them if our coaches know what they're doing. I'm way more worried about the guys calling the shots than I am about the players on the field right now. Because
if you have the right game plan, regardless of who the guy is, and this is something Kaufman said. It's like, man, the game plan's there, man. If we go out and execute, we're gonna
get it done because they have the ability in terms of physical attributes and experience, and there are a lot of really positive things there. So I would just caution fans again: you make up your mind about a player, and then it affects how you think about every other player. I don't think that's fair at all to any of these guys in the work that they're doing. So, like, it just doesn't matter, man. If it's TJ, that's who we're rocking with. I also think that a lot, again, that energy is not the same. A lot of the people from last year who trashed our O-line the whole season.
Right.
When TJ took the field, I stopped hearing about the O-line from a lot of people. I was like, wait, what happened?
Right.
I thought the O-line was bad and receivers were terrible. And suddenly these things aren't a problem now that the other guys at quarterback, like, come on, man, just keep the same energy for all these guys. And I have never been of the opinion that the O-line was the worst ever last year.
I mean, statistics actually don't bear that out.
They don't bear it out either, right? Yeah. So I'm just it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. But these guys have a chance. Voted last in the West. Ike and I voted in that poll. We didn't vote them last in the West.
No, absolutely not.
The smart guys voted them higher than that, but we'll see how they do.
And what do you say before we get to Thomas Jones super sticker? We appreciate you, Thomas, for that. What do you think about a comment like this was in our one-on-one?
Oh,
I don't know what just happened to him, but he said I think he said didn't look good at LSU nor last year. I don't see it being better. I disagree with that. Like, again, you have to take the totality of it into consideration because he actually had some good games and some good moments for us last year. He never had a stellar game for us. So I won't say that TJ was very uneven last year, but he definitely had good games at LSU. So I don't know where that.
Yeah, I just don't know how you're disregarding all the circumstances around that, though, right?
Yeah.
At LSU, COVID season, no spring, was actually picked number 2. They saw him as more of a developmental player. So they put him number 2 in there, and he got thrust into duty after the starter got hurt. So why, if they identified him initially as a developmental player, can you not believe that 2 years later he could be better than he was his freshman year? It doesn't make no sense. I mean, just because he wasn't good the very first, there were plenty of guys who have taken time to develop in college, right? But again, you're stuck. That confirmation bias, you've already decided that he's not good.
Right. And then any pass that he makes that's not perfect, you're like, see, I told you.
You blame it on him because you've already decided. Just the same way it was the opposite. People had already decided that our O-line wasn't good. So anything that went wrong with the offense, it was their fault. Yeah, I just don't think that's right. If you're not going to consider the nuance around all of this, if you're not going to consider all the factors that contribute to an incomplete pass consistently, there is I want to make this point. There is I don't go after people often, but there's a guy who does stats. It's SEC Stat Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Or, Clark.
Stat Tiger.
Yeah. The way this dude, no. Stat Cat and Stat Tiger are two different people.
Okay, Stat Cat. Okay.
Stat Cat, right? Like the way he counts drops in his statistics is completely ridiculous. 100% ridiculous. He had A&M with like 48 drops. He had us with 46. He had Kobe Hudson with 15 drops last season. And I was trying to explain to people, do you guys know how ridiculous that number is? There's no way you drop the ball 15 times and your coaches leave you on the field. No way. That's all-time bad. But that's somebody who just looks at a pass, and if it's not caught, says that's a drop. It doesn't matter how the ball was thrown. It doesn't matter how it was defended. Listen, bro, just admit it. You can't count drops. You don't know what a drop is. Because every other stat that keeps that site, we're like 15 to 13 off from your number.
Huh.
You count drops with your eyes closed. So like I don't get that. I don't understand that at all. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the metrics by which we judge these guys, it just has to take everything into account. Right.
And let me just say this too. If you don't believe in a particular player, I'm not asking you to.
Right.
I'm just telling you to stop trying to tell me not to believe in him.
Right. Yeah. Stop telling everybody else why we're not going to win a single game if that guy plays.
I mean, listen, your evaluation is your evaluation. I'm not saying you're wrong. And this is the thing I can't get people to understand. I've never said you were wrong about your evaluation. I said it's too early for me to get there.
Yeah. I'm not jumping on that train now.
And I'm fine. I am fine with you being right. Actually, I'm not fine with you being right, because you being right means that player's not good, and
you're
predicting
doom and gloom.
Yeah. But again, you could be 1,000% correct, right? I'm just saying I ain't there yet because I can see a path to it being there. Now, that's not going to stop me, and I keep saying this, from getting on here Saturday night after a game, Sunday when we sit here and do our weekend tailgate, Monday when we look at film, from saying that was awful. This was awful. This was bad. We've got to do better in these situations. Maybe it's time for us to go in a different direction at whatever the position is.
Right.
So again, do your own evaluation, do your own homework. Just stop trying to make me get where you are today and telling me I'm blind because how could you not see this? Well, actually, because I saw this other stuff that you refuse to acknowledge.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, I have no problem with people having apprehension until they see it on the field either.
Yeah.
Right. Like
that's actually a little different.
Yeah, I have no problem with anybody who says, I'm worried based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
But that's not what we've been responding to. Yeah, we've been responding to flat out just panic.
Yeah, like because of what I've seen, there's no way this guy can improve. And we have coaches for a reason. We see guys improve all the time. I get that we're not used to seeing it here at certain positions, but that's why we fired the last guy.
Yeah.
Right? To bring in a guy who could help guys improve. So
I think it's PTSD from what we've experienced over lately with the lack of development on the offensive side of the ball. If who the person is who they is when they leave Auburn, they're the same person they are when they got to Auburn when they leave. Unfortunately, lately.
Well, what problems did we have that we see last year that we didn't have for the last 8 years?
Correct.
What problem did Auburn have last year that we have not seen for 8 years to some degree? Because the O-line didn't suddenly get bad last year.
Right.
They didn't suddenly start having struggles. That's the same O-line that we've had for a long time. What you've seen is when we have athletes at the skill positions to cover those deficiencies, you notice it less.
Which is why I get people clamoring for Robbie. Right. Like I 100% get that, because you're like, hey, man, he's athletic enough to make up for those deficiencies that we see in the offensive line. TJ's a statue back there. That's the thing I see over and over again. So he can't function behind this O-line. If that's your evaluation, I said this on the last show, I have no problem with that. But if your evaluation is even with a good O-line, there's no way TJ Finley is an SEC caliber quarterback. I can't get there.
I can't get there with that. I can't get there with that. Like almost essentially preaching that he makes us worse.
Yeah. Not essentially. You're 100% saying that.
Yeah. Before we've seen it on the field, I'm like, no. And the coaches disagree with you, but it's primarily the Harsin haters that have that stance, right? The people who don't believe in Brian Harsin are not going to believe that he can develop these guys when there's evidence to suggest that the one guy that we were so frustrated with for years and years and years got better under Harsin.
Right.
It was year one, and there were multiple issues to fix, but they started fixing them. I just don't. It didn't result in the type of season in terms of wins and losses, right? But some of these teams who got voted in front of us last year, we beat soundly,
right?
In a rebuild year. Have you got all this hope for Ole Miss and Arkansas? Well, we beat you in a rebuild year. So if we get better, you better have gotten significantly better, because you couldn't beat us on a rebuild.
Right.
Well, they're going to point to Georgia State as the antithesis of that. Well, we almost lost to Georgia State.
Or South Carolina. Yeah. Let me grab some of these supers, guys. Thomas Jones, we appreciate you, man. Your comment is, with Wright going back to O-line, Does that mean that the Brahms injury is worse than expected? What's your thoughts on that, on Mike?
He actually said that he's been working between both positions. I know we heard that he had moved, but this young man was trying to make a decision about where he wanted to play, where he could help his team best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it necessarily means I don't think the two are connected at all. I just think he wanted to know now the Brahms injury might have necessitated the coaches just saying, hey, maybe you can help the team a little bit more here. But I think the Brahms injury is just is what it is right now.
Yeah. And possibly it's a path, Wright is saying, look, I have a better chance of getting more playing time if I go over to offensive line.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I was worried with him moving back to defensive line based on what I've been hearing about the defensive line. Like, we know
about how much
Wright
time he was actually going to get in.
Yeah. And so this actually gives him a better path to being able to get in a rotation and being able to contribute to help his team. And we were asked a question about Corey Weber asked about how does everyone feel about Tate Johnson starting at center? Your thoughts on that, guys?
I mean, listen, Jaleel Irvin was the backup last year. I have not seen a lot of snaps with Tate Johnson at center, so I don't know what to expect there. I think that it's good that we have multiple guys. I mean, I even, if I recall correctly, Brandon Council said he's played a little bit of center, so he has an opportunity to step in and play there as well. So it's good that we have guys who can potentially do that in case there's an issue. But listen, it's high time for Tate Johnson to do something and contribute to that offensive line. So if that's the space where he lands, then good for him.
Blaine Howell, am I the only one who thinks this team is severely underrated on both sides of the ball? If Nix doesn't break his ankle last year, the narrative changes.
I mean, listen, I get the skepticism. I understand. Listen, I watched the Georgia State game just like everybody else did. I watched the South Carolina game just like everybody else did. I watched us give up a second half lead at Mississippi State just like everybody else did. I watched us struggle at Texas A&M to put the ball. Listen, I watched the exact same team that everybody else watched last year. So I understand where the skepticism comes from. What I don't understand is just people's inability to see some positivity in that as well, because there was a lot of things to take away from that. And underrated, worse than the West, severely underrated. Absolutely. Where we actually land, do I think that we're the best team in the SEC? No. But I think we're going to have a hellacious defense, and I think that we're going to have an offense that's better than last year's offense in their proficiency. And I look forward to seeing them make some people look bad.
Thomas Sanders, appreciate the super chat, man. He says Auburn has tried to move away from the Malzahn offense twice, in 2012 and then in 2021. How do the two experiences compare?
In both instances, we probably didn't give that system enough time.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. We were in a Malzahn offense. We went away from it for 1 year, and then it was like, oh, this didn't work. Let's go back. Like, you can't overnight transform from that offense to a pro style offense. Right. So the time necessary is where we've been missing in both of those instances. So yes, the year after looked bad both times because you have to have time in strength and conditioning, changing of scheme, format, philosophies in order for that other thing to work. This will be a good prove it year, but I still don't think this year is determining what the ultimate outcome will be. Hopefully you just see more progress towards that goal.
Yeah, I would say 2012, that was my thing. It was the pain. What we saw was the pain involved in switching systems completely.
Right.
It resulted in 3-9, and we panicked, and we're like, oh, we can't do 3 years of that. Let's bring us back in.
And I think what can't be stated is culture, too, between 2012 and 2021. Mm-hmm. You were doing a fresh reset, and that 2012 team...
It was not a culture change, right? It was the same crap, right?
Yeah, and so whatever was not right, you just threw a new change of offense on top of that, and so it didn't make matters any better. So I think that's the difference.
Everybody has these growing pains when you change coaches and you change systems. The difference is a lot of teams, because we fired a coach that was technically a winning coach, an above 500 coach. It doesn't mean that you're not going to still have pain when you change systems,
right?
Most people, they're firing their coach a lot of the times because if it's not for some sort of malfeasance, right? Like, because it was poor. It was a poor on the field product. And I would argue that it wasn't terrible, but it was poor in some ways. It wasn't good enough after 8 years. the same reason that Georgia decided to move on from Mark Richt.
Right. He was a winning coach.
He was a winning coach, right?
Right.
That wasn't a super popular decision with a lot of people to move on from Mark Richt, but they decided to get over that hump that they needed to make that change. There was a little pain involved for a while, but they stuck with it, and look where they ended up. So I don't think it's that hard to believe that it could go the same way for us.
Auburn Dad for Life asks, if we have another star DB this year, are we becoming DBU?
Wouldn't that be nice?
It's a little early, I think, to say DBU until we see, more of those guys get into the league and have success. There are other teams who have more consistently put defensive backs into the league.
But boy, we got a hell of a list now. Carlton Davis.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Jamel Dean. Noah Igbenogany, right? And now Roger McCreary going into the league.
Yeah, Smoke before he got hurt was there.
There were a couple of outliers.
Jonathan Jones has
Jonathan Jones,
So we do have some good defensive backs in the league. I just think you can't overlook the numbers of what LSU and Ohio State have put into the league.
Who was the other kid that came in? He's been in the league for a minute. I think it was with the Packers for a little bit. The 1 year guy. The defensive back. Oh man, what was his name? The transfer. He transferred in for 1 year, and he was gone.
What year are you talking about? I don't know.
Maybe 2016-ish. Oh man, you guys are killing me. I know who I'm talking about.
Rudy Ford.
When you say the name, I'm sure I will.
Corey said a Rudy. No, I don't know if it's
Rudy Ford wasn't a transfer.
Daniel Thomas.
No.
Daniel Thomas transferred from Ohio State.
I want to say he came from like a northern school or something. I don't know why his name is not in my head right now. Once I say it, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that guy."
Javaris Davis.
No. Okay. To think back to 2015, we were in the Georgia Dome. Blake Countess. That's it. Blake Countess.
Somebody just said it in the
Yeah. He was in the league for a little. He did well in the league for a little bit. He bounced around.
He was at Michigan and came down.
Yeah. Right. So. Love the chat for that. That was going to kill me. I wasn't going to be able to go to sleep until I knew his name. I think we've got a good pedigree at DB.
Yeah.
Picking that right.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see something special. So I'm curious.
Zach Etheridge is going to take us there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Donnell asked, do you see Etheridge on a fast track to a DC position somewhere in the future?
At some point, somebody's going to be like, this dude's a hell of a recruiter.
Yeah.
His position group is playing well, and somebody's going to throw a ton of money at him.
For sure.
To leave.
Listen, Georgia tried to pluck him from us in the offseason this past year.
Same position. They're going to have to give him a DC title. That's the same. That was the same. But that's what you really want. You want to be able to, and this is something that Coach Harsin said when he came in, is he wanted to be able to develop guys to be able to be better coaches and then move on to places and get promotions and all that sort of thing. So you want to be able to reload at your position groups and let those guys move on to get jobs that they want, if that's what they truly desire. And if Etheridge wants to be, then he definitely will get that opportunity.
Yeah, forgot about Daniel Thomas too.
Yeah,
he's with the Jags. He's doing fairly well, man. We had a lot of DBs in the league.
Yeah, we're doing well.
Defense hasn't been our issue.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure.
Correct. Defense has been pretty decent, since 2015-16. So, absolutely. Offense got to catch up. Bloodworth asks, has there been an official War Report tailgate game picked yet?
No, but likely we'll be doing some sort of tailgate pop-up during Penn State. So we're looking at doing something during that game potentially. But I don't think that we're going to host a tailgate this year. But we might pop up at a tailgate here or there.
Yeah, not unless these Patreon memberships triple. It was expensive.
Yeah, it was a little. Yeah, it wasn't free.
Yeah.
James Barnett says, guys, speaking of defense, what are your thoughts on what Marcus Harris said about TJ as it relates to him getting the ball out quicker and TJ surprising the defense on some of his QB runs?
Listen, I'm going to keep saying this. People keep asking me, well, who do you think is the starter? As of today, it's TJ Finley, man, and you just get over it. Get over the fact that TJ will likely be the starter for Mercer, but there's still fall camp left to be played. But I like the fact that, again, one of the biggest knocks on TJ is he's a statue and he doesn't make decisions quick enough. This indicates maybe he sped up his processing a little bit.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
He's already got the arm. He speeds up the processing a little bit. He becomes more consistent with his accuracy. You have a really dangerous quarterback that will complement a wonderful run game. How about that?
Yeah, what you just described though about TJ is how I think he has to play the game to be consistent.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think he needs to get the ball out of his hands quicker. Right? He needs to make faster decisions with the football, and that's how he's going to be successful. Because if he holds on to too long without the mobility, I'm scared for his health. I'm scared for guys diving at his ankles and his knees, and he needs to play the game like Will Rogers, man. Like go through your reads quickly. If he is really, if he's better at his pre-snap reads as well, that's going to help him do that
For sure.
Know where you're going know where the holes in the defense are before you snap the ball. That's the evolution of his game, and that's how he's going to have to play the game if he's eventually going to play it at the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Harsin talked about making sure that you have your offense in the right position each play. And so that goes into what you're talking about, Mike, with making quick decisions and diagnosing the defense before and after snap.
Right.
Corey Weber says, we thinking Harsin announces QB1 either Monday or Tuesday. By then, we'll have 2 scrimmages under our belt. Thoughts on that, guys?
I don't know. I don't know. We think Harsin announced a QB either Monday or Tuesday. Maybe. You've got to do game prep. I think maybe they've narrowed down the QB race a little bit. So it's possible.
Well, again, depending on how the scrimmage goes, I made a very important statement. If Finley goes out and has another really great scrimmage, it's a possibility. If not, you wonder if they're looking to another scrimmage just to, you just have to see. I think this scrimmage will put the first scrimmage in perspective. So, and I think it'll give us a fuller picture of where we stand with this QB race. Curious to see I'm curious to see what both or all 3 guys look like going into the scrimmage. So,
yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see.
For sure. I didn't see any other questions, so I think we are good. Talk to the people. Do we have another one? No, I think that was the last one there. Talk to the people about why they need to become a patron right now going into the season.
Yeah, you absolutely need to make it happen because we've got the best content that's out here on these interwebs. And that's another way that you can make sure that we can continue to bring this to you in the best way that we know how. You get a lot of the perks. You see them here on the screen. I'm not going to have to keep telling you about them. But one of them that we definitely want to make sure you are aware of is that we give away tickets to games, man. The Mercer game is coming up. If you want to be able to view that game, listen, I know a lot of these cupcake games, people don't want to spend their money on them because it's like, oh, man, this might not be a good game. Hey, you could get free tickets to it on the War Report. We're going to be doing giveaways for every game. It's going to be starting with the Mercer game. So you guys make sure you lock in with us. You have to be a member in order to take advantage of this. Once again, we're going to be dropping exclusive content for you during the season as well. So you need to be locked in with us on those sorts of things. So make sure that you get that. If you did not get an opportunity to win tonight, congrats again to Melanie Ashford for getting the free t-shirt tonight. But if you didn't get a chance to win, you can always purchase something from the merch store. TheWarReport.com is where you can hit that up, and you can purchase your gear from there. Shout out once again to War Eagle Oil for sponsoring that giveaway for tonight. We are the Auburn Express. Everywhere that you listen to podcasts, you can find us. If you want to go back and listen to this in audio form, or maybe you want to get some of that exclusive audio content, make sure you lock in with us there on the Auburn Express, and we will definitely appreciate that. And once again, shout out to our sponsors who make this very possible for you all to continue to hear this great content.
Yeah, indeed. Then appreciate you guys for hanging around to participate and watch this amazing content, guys. Got some, Mike?
Yeah, guys, I didn't want to mention this. Ike and I talked about it, but YouTube is actually, we love our community. And what I love about our community is that they love each other. Yeah. So if you want to share the patron love, watch in the chat. YouTube is adding a feature where you can do gifted memberships.
Yeah,
you can buy a 1 month membership for somebody else. YouTube picks it at random. So if you are somebody who has not gotten a green name yet, but you interact with our channel, it increases the chances that they will pick you for the gifted membership. But you will be able in the coming weeks to purchase a 1 month membership for another War Report subscriber that watches the channel and is subscribed, but is not a patron member. So look out for that. We really like that. Twitch does this. This is a Twitch thing that they do if you are one of a gamer that follows gamers, and they're essentially adding another feature for you guys to be able to share the love with other War Report patrons. So we appreciate that. I know you guys are going to do that in high volume once they make that available.
Indeed. Definitely. Guys, listen, do us a favor, share this video on your socials, help people to find this content, join in on the discussion, smash that like button before you get out of here. And if you are new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to interact with us, guys, on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you can find us at The War Report. We are TW Report on TikTok. That's it for now, guys. Well, we definitely have more content on the way. We'll definitely be reviewing or recapping the scrimmage this upcoming Sunday. We will see you then. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.